Welcome to episode 3 of A1 Agents. I have my good friend here, Dan Kitajima. I'm going to give you a quick little introduction of him. He went from selling sneakers to selling whatever the heck he wants. he's the he's the owner of multiple businesses that he started from scratch. His main business being his insurance agency, that he has scaled organically to $13 million in premium, which is amazing. He also has a handbag business called Letra. Is
Hmm.
that how you say it?
Yep.
Perfect. And I know that he's also in the process of scaling his lead business as well. So just a real true fashion entrepreneur. What I noticed about Dan as soon as I met him, as soon as we became Instagram friends, was his work ethic. I don't think anybody works as hard as Dan. I don't think, and I would say not just working hard, but working smart. And so, Dan, I'm super grateful for your time. Thanks for being with me today and for being on episode 4. This is episode 4 of A1 Agents. So thank you, Dan.
No, thank you, Nick. Yeah, really honored to be here because I know you know a lot of successful agents, and for me to be number four, that's a huge honor. So you're doing some great things too. You were on my, YouTube channel, so and that went really well. You killed it, and there's so much that you're doing for the audience, for all the insurance agents out there. So really happy to be part of your movement and try to help out your audience with whatever we want to go over today.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for that. So, for my audience that doesn't know Dan, he does have a YouTube channel. He drops a ton of value. He's been doing this longer than me, so you guys got to be following him. Subscribe to him, and I know that you guys, if you guys are getting anything from my videos, you guys are going to get just as much from him. But for my listeners and my audience that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure, Nick. Started an insurance agency in 2007. Always been in sales. Um, it's been a great experience. I was playing a lot of poker back then in 2007. There's a little online boom back then. And well, really just to start off, I was selling sneakers. I was making money, part-time going to school. Understanding that making commissions works, even though I was working part-time, I could make more money based on my performance. So that was a great experience. And then after that, I got hired at a call center at an insurance position at AAA. So 3 years there, I got licensed there. I learned how to sell insurance over the phone. It's very fast paced. These were provided, selling policies, and I did really well there. And then, I won't go too much into the details of the story, but it didn't work out there. Learned a lot of lessons, humility,
How
things
old were
like
you
that.
at this time, Dan?
I got licensed when I was 24.
24. Okay.
So 2004 is when I got licensed. 3 years, you know, the good thing was I learned how to sell insurance. I was very competitive, so I did well in it. But the bad thing was I thought I was, you know, my head was getting too big. So I learned a humble lesson there. It didn't work out. And then I was like, hey, well, what should I do now? I learned all those skills there. And then I started my own insurance agency. And some of the story to just to share, kind of give you guys my background is that I started, buying leads. Back in 2007, it was considered a fad. Everybody was like, wow, don't do that. They were actually probably looking out for me, like, do not buy leads. Like, do not work. Internet leads do not work. And I was like, well, I just wanted to be busy, and I was playing a lot of poker back then, and I wasn't really that good, but I liked it. So I was going to Hawaiian Gardens. I was born and raised in California, Southern California. And there's, a lot of local casinos. There's a big poker boom back then. If you guys remember the World Series of Poker around '07, '08, before the economy crashed. And there I kind of learned that, hey, if I want to make some money, I got to risk some, so I was playing poker, sometimes we'll win 5,000, sometimes we'll lose 5,000. But I think the lesson there was like, hey, you got to make some risks, take some risks. So the second day I started my insurance agency, I was, didn't have anything to do really. The first day I sold my own policy and then my parents' policy, and I felt really good about myself. Second day I had really literally nothing to do, so I went online and there wasn't even there was Facebook back then, I think, but it wasn't that big. And you know we didn't even have smartphones, but there was Google, so I just went in there and typed in insurance leads. All these companies came up and I was like, well, I got nothing to lose. So I just spent, 2000 this company, 2000 this company, 2000 this company, and it's leads started coming in. At least I was talking to people, a lot of wrong numbers, and a lot of people hanging up on me, but at least I was doing something. And from there on, I kind of just believed in spending money on marketing, and that has helped me stay busy and um, hired my first employee 6 months later. She was doing the customer service. Then she heard what I was saying. She became sales, and then we hired another customer service rep, and just kind of change, use that system of just customer service to sales. 14 years later, I'm really grateful for the opportunity that this business has given me and my family and my staff and their families too. So in general, just a lot of gratitude and a lot of optimism of where we are, but even more excited about where we're headed.
Wow. So, a question that I have for you, to backpack on, to backpack to God, can't talk today. A question I have for you was, did you have money when you started? Did you use like the money from poker to start your agency, or did you have savings, or like did it cost an initial something initial to start, or how did you get started?
Yeah, luckily for me, at AAA, I was making seven figures in my early 20s, and so I had about 40 grand saved up when I started my agency. Okay, so poker was probably like, it wasn't like a real moneymaker. It was like I'll win one and lose some, so I was probably breaking even. So I had a little bit of cushion there. So that really did help me out, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And what also helps me out, to be honest with you, I want to give my parents some credit, even though they didn't help me out financially. I think I do feel blessed that, if things didn't work out, in the back of my head, I kind of knew that at least I had a place to go to, you know. So I do feel a little blessed, and I want to give credit to them for just having, security. It's not like they're like super well off or anything like that, but I was able to take risks because I had 40,000, and then if I knew that if I just spent it all and nothing worked out, then at least have a couple parents that love me that will I can move back into.
I'll let you sleep on the couch, right? Okay. So you've been an agency, you've owned your agency for how many years now? So you started in no, you didn't start in '07. You about 13 years?
Yeah, 14 years now. So from
14 years now.
2004 to 2007, I was an employee at a corporate position in sales, an insurance company, and then 2004 became 2007. Sorry, I became started my own agency. So
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. One of the things that I'm going to save these two other questions because I just created two questions as you were talking, that I really want to dive more into. But if you could, what's the most important lesson that you've learned as an agency owner? You're 14 years in now, and is there a big lesson that stands out to you?
Wow, there's so many, Nick. That's a great question. I would say, you know, back to marketing. Invest in marketing is kind of I learned is a difference maker. There's a direct correlation between how much money you spend on marketing right now and good your how big your book of business is going to be in the future. Sometimes agents may look at, hey, if I spend this much money on leads and then I pay my producers to sell them and then I pay the commission, the short-term ROI just doesn't make sense. But um, it's kind of a barrier where, I've figured that, hey, there isn't really a limit on how much you can spend on marketing, which gives you the ability to make as much money as possible too. So for a while, for some reason, I was just like, well, 10,000 is the most I could spend on marketing. And then I kept on that, thought in my process, that barrier for a long, long time. And then one of the lessons is when there was a little bonus promotion, I didn't get it. And I was like, oh man, I was so close. What could I have done? I took accountability there. And I was like, dude, I just should have spent more on marketing. Like the amount I would have spent on marketing, the bonus would have been more than the amount I would have spent on marketing. So it's like I was kicking myself for not doing that. And then, you know, from there on out, the last few years, when I just blindly just spend more money on marketing, it just has made a big difference in sales because, we all need people to talk to. And nowadays with technology, we could efficiently get in front of people, follow up with people, automation processes and things like that. that the more you spend money and the more you invest in technology, the more you leverage it, those are the type of things. Even though I was doing them, I should have went all in a little bit sooner. Is one of the lessons
Okay.
I learned.
Okay. And that's such a good point that you bring there because, us being in this business, I really feel like that as soon as we get over the mountain, right, or the mountain that we had created for ourselves, in that particular, so let's just say you're 3 years into the business and you're like, whew, my book's established. I'm good. I can enjoy life a little bit more. And you actually become a little reluctant to, oh man, like, should I be, putting, every my back against the wall again? And the answer to that question is yes, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Hmm.
But it always is so challenging. Well, I think that's the biggest challenge that people run into. Because I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of agency owners that have just they got to a certain point and then they slowly started, retracting and going kind of backwards and shrinking their books and so it is
Yeah,
constantly doing that is a challenge for
it
sure.
really is a challenge because if you think about it, in insurance, we're always kind of like calculating risk, and sometimes, you know, we see claims and stuff like that, and you don't, sometimes being in the insurance business and talking insurance all the time kind of makes you a little risk averse. You don't want to
Yeah,
take risks because, we're in the business of like seeing bad things happen. So I've seen insurance agents kind play it safe because it's kind of our nature almost. We don't want to do
right.
dangerous things, because
Yeah,
of we know how life insurance works and we know how car insurance works. So it's kind of like having to balance that of, obviously not being, out of control and just taking gambles that are, but we do have to take risks, and I feel like
right.
as an entrepreneur, that's what we do. And so being an insurance agent and also an entrepreneur, that mix of, being careful and being, smart and things like that and being analytical, but also at the same time, we got to take the risk and, and it's a personal situation. We don't have to, but if you want to grow, you definitely do.
Yeah. Sometimes taking the risks are not even logical, but we are you still there, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought I lost you.
Hmm.
I'm gonna cut that part out. My screen went blank for a second. Okay. No, but I was just saying that yeah, sometimes the risks that we take they don't make any sense. Like on paper, you're like, why would I do this? But knowing what we know, I think we just got to keep putting our backs against the wall, man.
Yeah. And I'll tell
Um,
you this, even I'll take it another step further, you know, it's actually riskier if when you're not taking risks. Because when
yeah,
you're not taking risks, you're not learning, you're not progressing, and you're staying at the same level, which is never the situation. You're either growing or you're decreasing, like you said. So not taking risks and not learning, and even if you fail, you actually that was a learning lesson. So I think one of the dangerous things with people who like to really play it safe is those are the ones that are actually putting themselves in the most danger. So yeah, taking risk, spending money. If you're thinking about hiring that person or not, hiring that extra person or buying that book of business or trying this lead system, taking that risk is really what helps you learn. And if it works, great. But if it doesn't, you're actually progressing and learning and faster. So yeah, I think just to like, really, I guess hammering that point to go out there and take some risks out there is the way to go.
absolutely. So I have another question for you. And it's regarding hiring, and I'm pretty sure I got this from you. I mean, I might have been watching one of your YouTube videos or somebody interviewing you, and I think you said that you will hire somebody if you like them. Like, and it's as simple as that sounds, it's actually profound. And what I do in my interviews now is if I'm interested in what they're saying if I'm just interested in them and I'm not like thinking about what I have to do next, or I'm not like losing them, right? Then I'm like, oh, they're pretty good because they're keeping me interested.
Hmm.
And so you're like, if I like them, then it's a good chance that the rest of my team will like them. And so uh, how do you, I mean, a big question I have for you, let me pivot from that is you have had some very loyal employees. I've seen your social media where some of them been with you for like what, 9 years? How long have some of your staff been with you?
Yeah, the longest one is going to be 10 years next year, and I have five over 5 years. Uh,
Wow.
um, So yeah, really blessed.
Can you talk
Um,
about what creates that loyalty?
yeah, let's start off with that point you said, looking for people that I like. Um, because like you said, your teammates will like them, but also importantly, your customers will like them too. Likability is a huge skill. It's like one of the most underrated skills. And I would rather take that skill of being likable than any previous experience you had in the insurance business, because even if you have your license and you know how to sell, if your teammates don't like you or your customers don't like you or I don't like you, then it's like I just don't want to work as hard. Because if I have somebody that I like, and then I'm actually gonna think like, okay, well, I like this person, I want to help this person. Then I'm gonna get creative and be like, okay, well, let me try this marketing campaign. Let me train this on this. Let me train him or her on this. Let me help them with this. And by helping them, it's actually helping your agency. But if you have somebody that you really don't like, then you're not really gonna work as hard for them. Because I do feel like I work for them, and I'm not going to spend as much on leads for them. So in a weird way, the more I like them, the more I help them. The more you help your employees, the more you're helping your agency. So, and then the more you help them, at least the second point you're making is that, if they didn't know anything about insurance, but you told them what liability means and you pay for the license, you got them licensed and they were having a hard time with this and that, and you try your best to help them. And then, you know, you help them accomplish their goals, talk about their goals and whether they want to move out or get married or have a kid or buy a house, all these things that in a way helped. Then any good person will be like, well, this person helped me out accomplish my goals. Any good person wouldn't want to just take the relationship. They want to give something back. It's almost like guilting them in to committing more
Right,
to your
right.
agency. So by just helping and by giving more back, I feel like that's kind of how I've earned um, their commitment and their loyalty, which is priceless, really, at this point. To scaling your agency. And I still have employee issues all the time, and things don't work out all the time. But I think just starting from if I like them or not, I think kind of sets the tone for the whole relationship. And the ones that do a good job of being likable, and also as a boss, that's something. And as a salesperson, customer service, just likability is so important in business that I try to remind myself that, hey, that's really one of the secrets. And but yeah, the loyalty is so great because just hiring somebody, you know how it is, Nick. You know how hard it is training somebody, and when it doesn't work out and starting all over again, it's just it's just a momentum killer of growing your agency. So people always talk about customer retention. Man, I would put employee retention over that.
Absolutely. Okay, I have this question came up too, man, and these aren't even any of the ones that I wrote, but I really want to know your take on this.
Okay.
What are your thought process on, if you have employees and I want my team to win so bad, almost to a detriment to where if I whatever it is they want to do, I'm willing to help them get there, right? I'm on my way visiting. I'm with one of my staff yesterday. We're driving to a mortgage partner office, and after we delivered Starbucks and shook hands with everybody, I'm driving back with her, and I'm just like, hey, I know that you want to do like real estate. You're really very fascinated with real estate. Um, and I'm asking her questions like, have you thought about doing like wholesaling on the side, right?
Hmm.
And it sounds counterintuitive because I'm talking to her about doing something else potentially. And
Hmm.
I mean, but then my point is also, look, I don't want this to interfere with what you got with me. But look, if
Hmm.
that thing takes off, then I'm so happy for you right now. So if you want to, let's just say that you got off at 5:30 and you wanted to make phone calls with your side business, on your own cell phone or whatever until 7 o'clock, or come, or work on, or maybe you need to work on Saturdays. Like, I think that might be a good move for you, right? And I don't know, is that a bad thing that like I want what's best for my team to a detriment? I don't know what's your thought process on staff side hustles and staff, have you had anything like that where you had to, maybe talk to them about something that wasn't involved with your agency?
you, you know um Man, you're coming from a really good place, and I want to acknowledge you, but I haven't really been in that situation that much. I think you must. Takes a certain ambitious person to really take that seriously, you know. But at the same time, I try to offer value. If that situation were to come up, I would actually, seriously think, because I believe in the potential of this business so much, and me, operating, a couple businesses, I kind of know in the early days how detrimental that could actually be for somebody's career. You really don't want to step into something unless you mastered one thing first.
Absolutely.
So in that situation, even though I wouldn't like blatantly be like, don't do that because I want you to just help my agency. But I think I would just give genuine advice that you know, not advice, but like talk about the pros and cons. And since I believe in, hey, if you really focus on insurance, it could take you a long ways, then really being like okay at insurance, okay at real estate. I feel, maybe not directly, but the right move is to just really, let's focus on insurance. Let's get it together here. We're going to work together. We're going to, blow up and, have a long successful career in insurance. And that's awesome. You have that interest, but let's, focus on this for now. And that's awesome that you have higher ambitions later. And we'll talk about that, during reviews and things like that. So you kind of know what their goals are. You want to, don't like shut it down, but kind of keep their focus in on the opportunity that you guys have together. So that's kind of the approach I will have in that situation. And
Right.
that's
Okay.
not really to be really I think that that's actually the best, really the way to really look out for them, because I've seen staff and agency owners kind of get into situations where they're not maximizing the opportunity big enough, and they're kind of going into something, and being really good at one thing is better than being a jack of all trades, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely love that. You That is great advice because I'm a firm believer in the power of focus. I was a victim of focusing on too many things and just sucking at all of them. And
Yeah, it's just like
so,
there's so much opportunity, it's like it's like that's like the bad thing of this generation. It's like there's so many great things, and this country is so great. It's like, if you want to nitpick of what's bad about it, is that there's too much opportunity.
right. Yeah, and success does stack. So be successful as you possibly can in the insurance industry right here with this opportunity that I'm giving you. And look, a couple years down the line, if you want to take that leap, at least you've been successful in this industry.
Yeah,
Because
and that could only
yeah,
help that,
absolutely.
and then the way you can help is really more obviously from the insurance and the real estate. So the way I could help you is through this, and not really so for that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think, but that's great, Nick, that you do support them um all the way, and your initial thought was like, wait a minute, this is not going to help my agency, so you went that far,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
just shows what type of leader you are.
Yeah. And I think finding that balance, because you're absolutely right. You do care about them by telling them, hey, focus on this, maximize it, make as much money as you can. So you have options. You will have options later. I love that. Okay, Dan, talk to me about what a day in the life of you looks like, start to finish.
Okay, cool. No one's asked me this before. Well, first of all, Nick, I already mentioned it, but man, your consistency on social media is, that I got to get there. You're always putting out content, and it's good content too. So a lot of times we like say like, hey, how much business are we writing? But another thing that agents should be talking about, like, who are the agents that are really helping other agents? And you're right up there, as far as just bringing value. So I really want to say, hey, and this is a great question too, because yeah, it takes a lot of work. I get up at 6:30. I'm here before 8, so I'm the first one here. And then I get probably about like 30 minutes of like, important stuff done, where it's coming up with like deep thinking stuff where I'm not really that bothered by employees or customers. So I try to get here early enough where I could just kind of focus on, okay, what's the plan? What do I have to do today? And I've already done that the night before, where I've written down like, what I have to do. like the 3 or 5 most important things I have to get done that day. But some of those things, like, coming up with like a copy of an ad, or like, the most important ways to message somebody, or just, coming up with scripts or templates, or like, maybe adding like a little automation. So I got to like, deep thinking stuff. I like to be kind of doing it on my own. And then my employees start coming in around like 8:30, and then I, just kind of like chat with them really briefly, and like, motivate them a little bit brief, just to see how where their headspace is, and just talk with them for about 30 minutes. And I hit the gym around 9. I don't like to go to the gym right away, which I used to do, but I felt like doing some deep work in the morning before everybody showed up, that has made a difference. So I go
Hmm.
to the gym after I've done something, and then I've already sent out the stats email and letting the team know, hey, this is what everybody wrote, and then motivational quote or something like that. And then I go to the gym for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I get back, and then I usually have something planned, Zoom calls, or meetings with videographers, or Google or Facebook, or my CRM guy, who we're always building stuff out. And then also, consultation, or meetings and things like that. So I usually have something scheduled, like 10 or 11 a.m. And then I like to be available too. So I don't want to stack my whole day with like stuff, because I could do that, consultation and stuff like that. But I kind of want to be available for my staff. So it depends on the day. So some of those meetings are with staff too. So I just always do have something on my calendar from 10 to 11, or 11 to 12 every day. And then 1 to 2, I usually have something scheduled. But usually one of those spots I like to have open, because you never know what could happen throughout the day. Like,
Hmm.
uh, employee's phone just shuts down, so I have to call IT and figure that out yesterday, or just things just happen, or like important client. I still do customer service. I still like to take calls, and I still like to, every once in a while, make sure I know how to work the system. I don't really do quotes, but I still want to be, and then I also am developing a lot of new agents. So I'm always, training them. So I like to be available for them. So I don't like to have my whole day just jam packed with like scheduling, and then also recruiting too, so scheduling interviews and Zoom calls like that. So a lot of it is spent on mo- training right now. That could change.
Okay.
So once they're kind of, trained up, then I might, sometimes I'm more focused on recruiting, and now I got to make a video for recruiting. So I'm always brainstorming. So those are the brainstorming things I'm doing early in the morning. Have some meetings, and then I don't eat till like 3 to 4 p.m. So I fast, and that keeps me energized. I feel like that's been a game changer for me. I've been doing that for about the last 2-3 years, and that has helped. So I take my lunch break, always ordering DoorDash. 3 o'clock, 3:30, I eat real quick, and then rest of the time, try to get on, social media, try to post something, try to, put out some content out there. And the office, everybody starts leaving around 7. At 7, after everybody leaves, I kind of calculate the stats, see who sold what, put it in my spreadsheet, and then 7:30, 8, I go home. My wife's wonderful, um, eat dinner, and then maybe watch some highlights, watch a game, for about an hour. And then I get into like my stretching routine, my breathing exercise routine, my massage routine. So I kind of get my body ready to rest. And during that time, when I'm doing that, I'm writing down, my calendar. So try to spend a lot of time on my calendar of what I'd have to do the next day, and then the following days, and mostly planning. And then I go to sleep, and the first thing I do is look back at that calendar and see what I got to get done that day.
Interesting. Wow. That is a jam-packed day, man. I've always been so curious about it because if you guys follow Dan on social media, he's just a machine, man. He's just a machine, and there's not too many people that make me feel like I'm not working hard enough, and it's you're one of them. So,
Oh, really? Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Thanks for
you
saying that.
post your you post your when you post on your social media, you kind of put like this laundry list of all the things that you've done this on every single day. You post it's almost like this checklist. It's like an accountability, and it's not even to like your followers. It's really to you, right?
Yeah.
I think because you post like a like a picture, and then it'll just say like marketing, hiring, training, content, boom, today was a good day. And then so I love that, man. Um, so what a jam-packed day.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't have any problems going to sleep.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the really cool thing that I took out of that was you start your day at the office and then you go to the gym. Like I've never thought to do that ever. And so I might rip a page out of that book, man. I absolutely love that. How long are your team? Your team is there from when to when typically?
So I have it broken down into certain shifts. So some of them start from like 8 to 5. So that's the
Okay.
earliest. And then I wish they would get here at 8, but some of them will start from 9 to 6. And then we have a later shift, which is usually the earlier teammates that I hire them to start them off with, because a lot of times they don't like that shift, is 10 to 7. So our office
Okay.
is open from 8 to 7. So I just stagger them.
Okay.
Mhm.
And this is, random question, for those that are watching this on YouTube, you've got some slogans on your wall. You got some, looks like that's probably, either your non-negotiables or your agency standards, maybe philosophies. Like what are some of those? I see on the back you have be happy. What else you got there?
Oh, yeah. Right now, well, you can't see it, but it says make money, be happy.
Okay, okay. I like it.
So, I mean, that's as simple as it gets, right? Like, that's what we're here to do. Yeah, the- sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves. The reason that we're gathering around here and at this office is to make money. So sometimes we kind of forget about that. So that kind of talks about, just being productive and helping clients and doing good customer service so people could stay with us, and we want to get our sales numbers up, and then be happy is a big part, because they have a choice to work where they want to, and that's the value that I always try to bring to them. So I talk about stuff that I believe helps in being happy, which is being productive, gaining self-confidence. I think being healthy is a big part of, um being happy, and also, taking care of her, and putting enough attention, and taking, your important relationships, having a good relationship with your important people in your life. So those are kind of the things I kind of talk about. But if you so complicated things that all that is, but I just want to break it down as simple as possible, and just let's just make money and be happy. The other one over there on that side is your hustle determines your salary. And I believe that. I got that from a Rick Ross song, funny enough. But you know, it does in this business. The how hard you work. And that's kind of like the culture I want to have is, and let it be known that, hey, if you want to get a raise, then give yourself a raise. That's how, I built my agencies through hard work. Nothing was given to me. I had to earn everything, and the same opportunity is there for everybody here. It's not going to be, well, being likable is helpful, but it is, you know, at the end of the day, based on your production and your numbers kind of speak for yourself. That's the great thing about this business, you know, and tenure does matter, but and experience matters. But if you're outperforming somebody else, then that person should get paid more. So that's, everyone who has a commission system has that. But I just want to kind of put it out there and let them know that if you want to make more, you definitely can. It's just your hustle is what determines it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and I just have a request actually, back to that day in the life question. Can you please come out with a YouTube video where someone just follows you around with the camera the whole day? I think that'd be a fire video.
You did one
For
of those, huh?
whatever I did, I did. I mean, it didn't kind of go exactly how I envisioned it, but I'm trying to make more of a series on that,
Okay.
and people are very interested in that. I noticed that those are some of my best performing YouTube videos, which are day in the life.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so I want you to come out with one because just for me, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Not even like for your followers, but or your subs, but I want to see that in action. I'd love to see that. So
Yeah, sure. Well, if you think it's gonna go well, your YouTube game, I'm learning a lot from you. So if that's your intuition, then I'm gonna give that a try, because when it comes to YouTube, you definitely know what you're doing, Nick. So I'm gonna give that a try. Uh,
I'm
I'm naturally a little bit introverted, but hey, I'm just documenting what I'm doing, so that doesn't take that much actually prepping for anything like that. So I do have a videographer that comes here part-time. But yeah, let's give that a try. You got it.
Yeah,
Great
for
idea,
sure.
maybe.
Yeah, 100%. And so, okay, I want to talk about the handbag business. How did that come about, right? And go ahead and maybe if you want to put in a plug, uh, I think it's there's USA at the end of it, right? The IG
Yeah,
plug.
yeah.
Okay.
At Letra underscore USA. Thank you for mentioning that. That is actually technically my dad's company. So my dad's an
Okay.
entrepreneur, and he was down in Mexico 10 years ago and found some nice hand woven bags. They're really nice and they're really popular. I'm really happy with the feedback, but he's been selling them in Japan and they've been doing really well. The sales numbers are great. And then he just came to me one day and said, "Hey, I think these will do well in the States." So, not knowing anything about e-commerce, but I did know how to market insurance online, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So I was like, well, let me learn what I learned, and then, try to basically help my dad's business. It's really just coming from just trying to pay back my dad and trying to help his business, because, um, and kind of a challenge too, it just somewhat, it's not really because I have the insurance business that, helps me, my family out financially. This is more of like a challenge. This is more like make my dad proud type of motivation. And, but, and have experience in hiring people. So I don't really do much really, to be honest with you. I have a couple employees for that business and it's been a fun journey. You learn a lot in different businesses, but one of the things that I think holds true for any business is that, you know, market online, spend money on advertising. So these are the lessons I learned from the insurance business that have transferred over to the bag business. Take care of your customers, whatever they need, customer service wise, they want to do return as much as you can, or really more than I can, maybe. I just 100% happy customer satisfaction guarantee. And I just follow that, with insurance and the bag business. And then three is just like, hire people I like and try to look out for my staff really and protect them and have the attitude that I work for them. So those are probably the three things that just what is so different, handbag business and insurance. But those three things I think apply to all businesses is kind of what I'm learning. And people have loved our bags and it's doing well. So I'm really happy that it's going the right direction. I'm really excited about, it really has made me even better of a delegator too, because insurance business, I'm still hands-on, but this one I was like, oh, there's no way I could do this, and even though I set up the ads and some of those skills I've had, but there's just no way I could do the customer service and take the pictures and put on the website. It's just, that's a multi six-figure business too now. So it's like it just takes too much energy for me. So I've become a lot even better at delegating and having somebody just really run it for me. So as a leader, it's been a great experience too. So really, again, a lot of appreciation and gratitude towards my parents. And I just feel like, if I could do anything to help them out, and what are you gonna do? Your dad comes to you with a business idea. You're gonna you're gonna be like, okay, let's give it a try. We'll figure it out.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so I got a couple follow-up questions. And I agree with you. This business, I didn't know anything about business prior to insurance, but after I think it was only just 2 years of it, 3 years of it, I'm like, I could do any business, I'm like, I could do anything, like this is universal. This was the confidence, booster that I needed. And I tell, I kind of tell a lot of people that if you don't know if you just have no idea what business you want to start an insurance office and then go from there. Like give it like at least 3 years of, uninterrupted focus. And then from there, I think you'll be confident in like, I'm going to try this one out, And so I agree with you there. Um, a question I have is you have this huge office back there. How big's your office?
It's close to 4,000 square feet.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
And how many staff you have in there, like between both businesses?
We'll have 13. We have people going in and out of maternity leave, taking turns all the time. But I think like for a day, like I have 13 in insurance and two in Letra, so
Very
15
cool.
people here. Yeah, and then I have some part-time videographers come here and there. So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now I have a question for you, and I think we talked about this before, but you have a team of girls, just a bunch of women. And I joked with you because for whatever reason, I can only attract a team of dudes. I don't know what it is. Like I just run a football team over here, right? And and it works. I mean, there's some ego, you know what I mean? Sometimes some egos that you need to check, and but I think we've gotten to a really good, really good group of people here. My service team is is women, but my sales team is just always dudes. Talk to me about like how that came about.
Yeah, sure. Well, I might be biased because my team is so great, but I to me, it seems like they're better at insurance sales over the phone.
Yeah,
I mean, it just comes down to you know, calling somebody, talk to them on the phone, answering phone calls. It's just like, you know, I just believe in just what gets the job done, you know.
mhm.
So, I've been on like a podcast where like, oh yeah, equal opportunity and like, you're a feminist. I was like, I am. Like, I didn't even know that you're empowering women. I was like, I didn't know that. I'm just literally just trying to grow my book of business, So I
Right,
thought I was
right.
just doing it for what's good for the business. People think like I'm doing it as like charity. Like, no, like I really believe that women are really good at insurance sales and customer service. Not to say that guys aren't, but it's just kind of led that way. I've had guys in my office, videographers, and some of the technical stuff that we do here, CRMs and things like that. So there's different skill set, but I do think women, in this business is a lot of you do really well in sales and services when you have empathy.
Mhm.
And I feel like some of the characteristics, not obviously not all genders are a certain way, but leaning towards empathy, being nice, caring, those are maybe those
Okay,
are my characteristics. Maybe I need to be more manly, but those are the things that I value kind of,
I think,
and
and they're, I think they're naturally, women are naturally more caring and nurturing than us. I mean, maybe by by design. I know that they're a heck of a lot more efficient, right? They make way
mhm,
less operational mistakes than some of the guys I
yeah.
have on my team.
Yeah, and they're really multitaskers too. So that's why, doing both customer service and sales, I think my team is kind of built that way too, of not really separating the two as much. But it's kind of funny how it worked out. And, just to kind of go a little bit even deeper, Nick, it's like I've, for a while I was hiring guys and I just share with you guys, that because we talked about employee retention, a couple of the guys, well, a lot of the guys, I could, there's probably like right off the top of my head, I could remember five. Five of my previous staff over my 14 years that were male that started their own agency.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a little bit more of a list tolerance that guys take, and not that I wish them luck. But those guys, none of them have actually worked out. They're not agency owners anymore. But sometimes,
But they saw you do it and they thought, oh, if Dan could do it, I can do it too,
yeah,
right?
so there's a little bit of competitiveness in that. And then I was like, well, that was and then I feel like, again, I look at things really long term and I feel like there's a little bit of loyalty. So that's why that's based on experience. That's kind of how this agency is today. That doesn't mean, I wouldn't interview or hire guys. And in fact, I'm hoping that I do in the future, but that's kind of where we're at right now. It's kind of funny how it worked out. So those are kind of the factors. I don't want people to feel like I only, I feel a certain way because everybody's different, So we
Right.
can't, judge a whole gender or stereotype each person. But and then also, there's a little bit of camaraderie too. They came from the same area. They kind of have same interests, and as a team, they kind of like feel comfortable with each other, and a little bit of that too. So teamwork,
You know
those
what?
are
It's
those
such a.
kind of things.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah, yeah.
I just think that it's that because I do think that like when if I were to have more women in my agency, that other women maybe that I'm interviewing would actually. I felt like girls feel more comfortable working when there's more girls, right?
Right.
Whereas, like right now, one of my only have out of six salespeople, only one of them's a girl, and I really think that whenever that they just maybe feel more comfortable when there's other people. But I did just hire five more people, right?
Oh,
Thank
wow.
thank God. Hired five more people, hoping to get this third office, and I will tell you that three of them were girls. So I'm making
Okay.
progress. I'm making progress, Dan.
Yeah. No, I think there is a little bit of momentum in that, they kind of like, so when I put like a hiring ad, like that's the applicants I get, so I think
That's
there's a
so
little bit of
funny. Okay.
momentum in that. But that's awesome. So you hired five at the same time?
I did a hiring event where it was just a
Wow.
bunch of group interviews, and I made five offers. And
Nice.
so and it was a big bunch of people. And so I
Mhm.
found what I think are some good quality people. And so made five offers and all five accepted. So now that goes, I mean, that probably means that only, at the end of 90 days, usually I think for every three hires and offers, I think only one ends up sticking in the end of 90 days. But,
Okay.
uh, but, but yeah, I made five hires. So.
And then I'm not sure if you can share this or not, but how's it looking with the third office?
You know what? It's actually looking very good.
Oh yeah.
I had a talk with one of the decision makers yesterday, and I'm pretty optimistic. Pretty
Okay.
optimistic.
Man,
So
that's gonna
I'm
be
pretty sure.
huge.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for it, and it's everything that I need to build the kind of organization that I want to build. I love what you said about you work for your team, and that's what I've been trying to do. At some point in this business, and I'm guarantee it happened to shift it for you too, where, my first 3 years, I was just like, build this thing, build this thing, build this thing, because I was broke and I just want to be successful and travel the world and, eat at nice restaurants, things like that. But a shift happened, in these last 2 years where I'm like, how do I take care of my team? Like my book is built. I'm kind of good, How do I shift this towards them? And so that's all I'm in for. That's all that's what motivates me nowadays. So I'm pretty sure that shifted for you a long time ago.
Yeah. No, that's awesome that you experienced that at that early level of your agency, growth, because not only does it help your business more in the long term, but I think the fulfillment is bigger that way than that impact you're making on your staff is once you take care of yourself, then what's the next step is to take care of other people, and actually helping them out. You get a lot of fulfillment out of it and you feel really, you know, um, good about yourself. So to 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 already understand that, Nick, that's that at this early of a stage, I think that's a big game changer because if you're just doing it for yourself, you're just not gonna build that big of a book of business because you could have your lifestyle, you know, taken care of, nice place to live, vacations, nice things you own. But then if you're not doing it for but then if you're doing it for others, then like I said, you're gonna create, marketing plans, you're gonna spend more marketing on marketing, and in the end, you're gonna build a bigger agency if you're doing it for others. So having that shift of doing it for your staff, for your clients, and for others is kind of like what helps you out the most in the end. It's weird.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Two questions left, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But they're the best questions. I saved them for last. So this question is: what makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Um, Man, when I'm productive, when I'm busy, I love that feeling of like, man, I did something today. I got a lot done. And that makes me the happiest. I'm really the saddest when I'm like caught up with everything. Like shoot, like I purposely have stuff on my calendar that I don't get to because it's just impossible, right? So, but when I do, for some reason, like on a Saturday, I'm like, wow, I finished everything on my to-dos. I never like to get there because I'm kind of like, okay, what's next? Or like if I'm not doing anything, or if I like, spend too much time watching football on a Sunday or something like that, and I wasn't like, really present for my family or something. That's when I feel really horrible. When I'm really actually doing something productive or helping somebody or moving the needle the right direction. So it's not really when I hit like certain targets, which are important too, but just it's kind of cliche, but when I'm really deeply in the journey and I just for certain moments, I'm just like, this is freaking awesome. I and it's like verge of overwhelmment, and it's like I'm enjoying it. It's like I'm just like about to go crazy, but I'm like, this is so cool. It's like being that edge of just being too busy and doing too much, and knowing for you to like back off and like knowing how much you can handle, and then and then just doing things, just getting shit done is like really when I feel the best.
Okay. Awesome. And my last question is, I've kind of I formulated a question and I asked it for the first time on my episode 3, and it has the title of this series, A1 Agents, right?
Hmm.
And it's A1. It has to do with A1, and so I'm pretty sure you know what A1 means, but it means to be of excellence or to be of the highest standard. Okay. Now, this question is for you to imagine that your great grandkids someday, or just anybody down your family tree, right? Or anybody that's known you, they get a hold of this video long after you're gone. Okay. And I want you to tell them what are 3 standards you would have wanted them to know, that you have always kept for yourself. So, 3 standards that you kind of live by that you would want your great grandkids or grandkids to know?
Man, um, great question, Nick. The first two I just came right on top of my head, so that's kind of easy. The third one I had to maybe think about. The first one I would say just outwork everybody. That's just maybe in our blood. To just you know get to work. There's sometimes people say, "Hey, work smart," but I believe that when you work hard, you actually figure out how to work smart. So working hard comes before working smart. And then when you really work hard, then you really figure out how to work smarter. So let's just outwork everybody, because it's just that's really the game. And then the second one is to just be nice to everybody. I think that kind of plays into likability. So help people when you can, and treat people with respect, and just overall just kindness. I think is something that I hope they um, have in them. Man, and the third one, man, what was the question again? The third, trying to buy myself some time.
Yeah, yeah. Three standards that you
The
would
standards.
want anybody that knows you, you would want them to know that you lived by.
Hmm. Wow, yeah, hard worker. Okay, nice, kind, and then just be positive. Really, I think. I think positivity. I think that comes with gratitude. But we could look at things different ways, but I believe there's a opportunity in every obstacle. Um, and to just be optimistic, I think it comes down to, what I have back there is make money, be happy. So we could outwork people and be nice, but then if you're not, happy, what's the point? So having a positive mindset, being grateful and just, understanding the perspective of how great we have it, I think is important. And I think when it comes to health, it's just, happiness and just positivity. It is about, being productive and then having good health and then also having good relationships in your lives. So I think, just positive activity, optimism. I think that's the third standard that I would say, hey, we have to live by. We have to work hard. We have to be nice to others, and we have to be positive.
I love it. Awesome. Well, those are the questions, man. That's I think we're right around the hour mark. So um, that's all the questions that I have for you, Dan. I think there was so much value dropped in this. I'm super excited to put this thing out. And my last question or request is, for those that want to find you, to find your channel. I know that I follow you personally on IG, on Facebook, and YouTube. If people wanted to find you, how do they find you?
Oh yeah. Well, thank you, Nick. I mean, this is awesome. The questions you made me really think. So those are the best, and I really appreciate you, just asking these questions and letting me try to help out your audience because I do really enjoy agents, and what we do is not easy. And for us to try to help others, I really commend you and acknowledge you for just being great at what you do, man. Just sharing information and putting it out there. So yeah, my handle is basically my name, Dan Kitajima, Kitajima. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, that's all under that. And yeah, we have a great opportunity. I think it's not easy being insurance agents. So if there's anything we could do to help, we always want to do that. So hopefully this has helped some of you guys out there.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, Nick, let me know if you need anything. You're doing an awesome job. Keep me updated with the third office. And yeah, looking forward to keeping in touch with you and witnessing, you know, what great things you're going to accomplish. So yeah, I'm really excited for your future too.
Thank you so much. All right, till next time. Thanks you
All
guys
right.
for watching. Like, subscribe, and destroy the like button, and follow us both on our social media platforms. Peace out, guys.